Hello there, you're listening to Go Podcast. I'm St-Pierre.
And I am Morten.
And today we will have an episode on tooling, maybe a little bit of libraries and whatnot. But before we jump in, don't forget that you can join the Slack channel on the Gophers community, the Slack community if you are there. So the channel is Go Podcast in one word. We are there. We are not really talking much, but maybe one day. I don't even know what to talk about on this channel, to be frank. That's one issue.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of people discussing the releases, it seems like, or maybe they're just emoting it. I don't know.
That's good that you say that because I was going to forget. Last week, I forgot to say that I was invited to the Cup of Go podcast. So. Because this is their format. Basically, they have this pre-interview moment where they are talking about what's going on. Is there any I don't have the word now, but is there anything to check the conferences and the suggestion on GitHub? How do you call those? Anyways, the thing that people suggest to add on the Go compiler or whatnot, or the language itself. So they are talking about that. So this is kind of different. It's pretty good. I'm not a huge listener of podcasts myself, which is strange. But since I'm not driving and I don't have that kind of time to listen, because I personally obviously cannot really listen to podcasts when I'm working due to my screen reader. I only have one brain to understand someone that is talking to me, but yeah. So basically, I don't really have a huge time to listen to podcasts. Do you listen to any podcast?
I love podcasts, but I think there's not that many anymore. I used to love to listen to Go Time a lot. That was one of my favorites. Now it's mainly I do listen to mostly technical with Aaron Francis and Ian Landsman, I think it is. I try to find where we have like a little bit of business, a little bit of tech podcast. Yeah. I also try to tune in for the stand-up, which is the Primate Yen and TJ's and Andrew Muratori. No, not Andrew. I forgot. I really butchered his name there. It's not
Casey. Right.
Casey. Thank you, Casey. I don't know why that was Andrew in my head. Yeah, I listened to a little bit, but I don't know. I have this working hypothesis that they have too many product managers at Spotify, and that's why I never find anything I want to listen to, because they're always adding new stuff and I can't navigate, and then I just end up with like the ones I can remember, and that's what I listen to.
Yeah, totally. I sometimes listen to Developer Voices by Chris Jenkins. I find I really like the pace and the kind of interview that he's doing there. The one that you just mentioned with Casey. I discovered Casey a long time ago with Handmade Hero, I think it was called. He made a series on YouTube where he was kind of building this game from scratch with an engine and whatnot. So
cool.
Yeah,
it's always a fun dynamic because they're all really smart engineers, you could tell, right? But it's always like Casey just going down this deep technical rabbit hole.
Then Casey is a beast.
Yeah, totally. And then everyone else trying to get a few jokes in there. Yeah, it's a fun mixture of technical entertainment. Yeah,
sure.
But
I was also listening a little bit to Go Time a couple of times here and there. I know that there has been some kind of replacement. I don't even know exactly what it is or what's the name. But yeah, if you we are kind of friends with the Cup of Go, Jonathan and Shai and whatnot. So I mean, it was nice from them to invite me there. Unfortunately, I sound like crap because they are using Riverside, and for some reason, it did not pick my mic. I mean, I was talking to my mic, but it was my camera mic that picked the sounds. It sounds like really, really not good. But anyways,
that's a hard thing to fix in post.
totally. Can you take my other audio input, please? Yeah.
No.
So, yeah, go ahead.
No. I was just thinking about, because I also remember Go Time. They did talk about they would continue the podcast somewhere else, because the podcast who owned Go Time was slimming down. But I never found it. I looked for it multiple times, but I never found the new one. I'm not even sure if it's still there.
Yeah, I'm not sure as well. I don't really follow. I heard a couple of things. But yeah, the name is evading me completely at the moment, and I feel like I heard something like the host was a little bit, I don't know. It might be a little bit political, a little bit depressing sometimes. I don't even know. That this is just something I read very, very quickly on Reddit one day. I don't recall exactly.
No.
So because I was very happy. Sometimes people were talking about Go Podcast on Reddit, and I was like, wow, this is cool. This is cool. It's very hard to measure exactly how much people know the shows and things like that. But yeah. So that was really nice. Of Cup of Go, they talk about Go Podcast a couple of times in another episode as well. I did this episode on Podman actually, which will bring us to the main topic of today. I mean, the tools that we are using, maybe some libraries that we like. If we start with some tool. And I won't go into too much detail, but for me, Podman is just this great replacement for Docker. I don't know if you use Docker at all in your day-to-day development.
I use Docker a lot for deployments.
Okay.
But not for day-to-day development. I have worked in places where we try to do it. It's one of these things where the idea is, or the promise is very nice, but it just always worked out to be much slower than just running them directly, I think.
But wait. So wait. This will be interesting. This will be nice. Okay, so what if you need, I don't know, Valkey or Redis and Postgres and a lot of crap that you don't want to install on your machine? How do you do that?
I install them. Personally, no. I install them.
Oh no.
But I have also created a lot of these huge Docker Compose files to provide developer tooling to teams. So I'm not unfamiliar with doing it. I don't know. I like knowing where it's installed. I like managing. I mean, now I'm mostly on Linux. I know, but mostly I am only on Linux. But I used to also do a lot of development on Docker, so maybe that was why I remember it being slower than just installing it directly.
Interesting. Oh yeah. No, I'm on the other side of the table. That's great. I think if we are not always agreeing on things, it will be better. For me, it's all about. It's strange that you say that it slows you or something. For me, it's really quicker. I can load a specific version if I have. Let's take my open source project Static Backend. So I have this Mongo driver. Well, not a driver, but let's say an interface to talk with Mongo, and I can talk to Postgres. I don't want those to be installed on my machine all the time, and I want to run the tests often when I do some changes in some different environment that I don't want to maintain myself. That to me is the beauty of now Podman, if I can say that, because I change from Docker to Podman. Podman is nice because it did not require you to have anything to do with being root or requiring privileges and whatnot. It's all in your user land, if you will. So to me, that brings a lot of niceties.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely see the value. I also maybe it's because we had so many moving components that I felt like the developer experience running everything in a containerized environment felt slower than just doing it directly. And also, I had to do a lot of trade-off when you do this in a team with people on multiple different systems. And yeah, I don't see. It's not that I don't see the value. Maybe I came to a point where I'm like, just install it.
Yeah, but now you don't you have some issues that one or two people in the team have some issues because they have some weird configuration and things like that. So to me, that brings some kind of, calm and tranquility to a chaotic way of, it was like that when I started. When I started, the dependencies was, and maybe I was traumatized by that time, and that's why I would have a hard time returning there. To me, returning there meaning that each developers will install the tool on their system and they will configure them and whatnot. So to me, having that part just being handled in a configuration file and everyone have the same thing, and especially these days with companies going crazy with not web services but microservices and whatnot. I mean, I don't want to install like 15 or run 15, small services on my machine just to test something. I just want to, Docker Compose up and thank you very much. They are running now.
Yeah. I mean, also, if we're talking about microservice environment and if everything is Dockerized, yeah, I mean, that's also where I will lean towards. You have to mimic the production environment as much as possible. So if you are running your applications in Docker, then I think it makes sense. I just for like database dependencies or like Redis or those kind of things, I typically prefer to just install them myself. And it may be also a little bit of a hot take opinion that I think that is something that that people should be familiar with or aware of how to do, because most of the time when I have had to set up these huge Dockerized environments was because people didn't necessarily knew how to do it. So yeah, totally. If you have a bunch of microservices and everything containerized, I totally buy the premise. I just prefer my dependencies to be
interesting. Yeah, it's interesting because for me, it's all the rivers. On production, I use none of the containers. Never. It's bare metal. I don't use, platform as a service anymore as well. I just like to take a droplet on DigitalOcean or whatnot and install what I need there.
Yeah. I'm also, I think I mentioned last time, I'm building this SaaS product around infrastructure, where I'm also building one of the deployment options is through binary deploys and systemd, which is nice. It definitely simplifies things a lot. I just think you can do some more interesting things with if you adopt a Docker. So now from a product perspective, I have to manage the ports that things are running on. I don't really need to worry too much about that if people are using Docker. I haven't looked too deeply into it, but I'm pretty sure I can do proper zero-time deployments on binaries. I would not on a single server, right? I will need to have multiple servers. But maybe I'm speaking a little bit too speaking without having looked too deeply into it. I'm not sure if you can do that. Does that make sense?
Like I'm trying to understand exactly. So what are we talking here? So let's say I'm a customer of your SaaS. So your product is going to help me deploy my application. Is that right?
Yeah. So managing servers and managing applications. But if you adopt the containerization without it having necessarily to be my product, but in any other product, and you just want to do it on a bare bones VPS, doing zero downtime deployments does become a bit easier, because you can, if you use something like traffic, you can start routing traffic over to a new container without killing it first, right? So you can verify that it's running, and then once it's running, kill the old container and then divert all traffic to the new one. I haven't found a good way of doing that with binary deployments and systemd yet. I mainly just kill it.
That's what I'm doing. I don't have the volume. So let's say I'm deploying. I try to deploy. I'm not deploying like a crazy, at each 15 minutes, like a lot of people are doing these days. It seems. But yeah, for me it's like, you know what, on Sunday morning. But then maybe the application will be down for like 3 seconds. The time that systemd is restarting. Thank you very much. That's all fine.
Yeah.
My 100 paid customer won't even be there at that time. So what, I'm lucky to have, I don't tend to pass too much problem on those things, because I know that with the scale that I'm having, usually with the SaaS that I'm building, well, you know what, it's not really a problem.
No.
For now.
No, it was also where that's one of the, I like the option, because
but you are building something to manage an infrastructure and whatnot, so your problem are different. You might need to, in fact, really ensure that you are handling this problem for sure.
Maybe, but it's just
because that is something that you are selling.
True. It's just also that is how I've deployed my applications. My own applications for many years, just Dockerizing it, containerizing it's called, right? And deploying it through either Caddy or Traffic. I love Caddy a lot more than I love Traffic. It's impressive product, but I feel like it's so confusing.
Is Traffic built in Go as well? I don't recall. Yeah.
It is. Impressive product, and I think they have taken a very interesting approach to open source software, where they try to do some offerings as completely open source, and then have paid solutions. So there's also some financial backing around the product, which is nice. It can't just be. I feel like it can be quite a beast to figure out. To do,
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I have a 10. Well, I'm still using Nginx myself. So for those listeners, maybe you don't know exactly what Traffic is or Caddy, but probably so. I would say there's a couple of projects in the Go ecosystem that just are known by default. Fine is one of them, and Whales and Caddy probably as well. I would guess.
Yeah.
For me, one feature I really, really, really like of Caddy was something like, and I'm not sure I am going to explain that correctly, but let's say I wanted to have my customer to have their own domain and whatnot. So there were a way in Caddy to say, you know what, you are going to accept any kind of incoming traffic, and if you don't have an SSL cert, generated for that domain, do a call to this API endpoint, my server API endpoint, and I will return you a list of allowed domains. And now you will be able to generate this SSL cert. I was like blown away about this feature. I was like, this is crazy. This is so nice.
Wow. Yeah. Sounds cool.
Oh yeah, totally. Because, other than that, I was going to do, okay, I know that Caddy has this API, and I know that I can add a domain and whatnot, but now it's completely just reversing, just give us an endpoint that returns the domains that are allowed to call your application, or at least to load your application, and we will handle that. Of course, for the first request, there is a delay, because now you're requesting an HTTPS that does not exist. It needs to fetch your API. Your API needs to respond quickly. They need to provide or do all the let's encrypt, magic there. And if everything is fine, after a couple of seconds, maybe 10, I don't know, 15, whatever, 30, maximum 30 seconds, you still have the response, which is crazy. Yeah. It's just crazy. Yeah, I like Caddy a lot.
I was actually not aware of that feature. That sounds very nice.
Yeah, I was not as well. So yeah.
I mainly use like the API to register domains.
Yeah.
So you don't have to change the config file. You just use the local host API that's running on the server to register the domains, and then you can just do a backup of that list. And then if everything goes down, you can just make it re-ingest that list of domains.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was too lazy to implement the API and whatnot. But they probably have the Go library. But when I found this feature, I said, oh, you know what? Yeah, I will just create an endpoint myself and please do the registration.
Yeah, nice.
It was nice. So yeah, so that's a nice tool. So do you have any tools other than what we just said? The reverse proxy is kind of a bare bone tooling in most software engineer tool belt when you are building a web server, for sure. And,
yeah.
Do you have anything else in your day-to-day that you that is not a library but still a tool could be built in Go, maybe not. So
do I have like I have some of the tooling I use a lot for my framework, which again is just binaries that you download down to your local machine. I use one. What is it called actually? Because I have in the framework you just write Enduro app console and you get like an SQL interface. It's called USQL, okay. Something like that. I think it's called. That's really nice. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's called USQL. That's a nice tool because it's just USQL. It's just a universal command line interface for SQL databases.
Okay.
So I don't necessarily have to jump into
PSQL or the MySQL
yeah, exactly.
client. Yeah.
And another one I'm starting to play around with is called DB Lab. That's also quite nice. It gives you more of a TUI. Is it TUI, the terminal user interface, right? Way of interacting with your databases. So you stay in the terminal as much as possible. That's what I like to do. It's nice to have everything there. So those two I used a lot.
And what is the TUI gives you? So I guess you have some like list of tables that you can navigate with your arrow keys and whatnot. I mean, is that what we are talking about?
Yeah. Okay. So the USQL one is literally just SQL in the terminal. And I mean, there's pure SQL what is in there, whereas DB Lab approaches the same thing, but with a little bit more visual formatting and setup. So it's mainly development, right? If I have to do anything on production, I jump into DB Beaver, where I can set up safeguards so that I don't destroy anything. Yeah, so it's just very bare bones for SQL, for USQL, and then a little bit more prettier looking interface in DB Lab to interact with the database.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what about the Postgres? The command when you say something like backslash I don't know D, for example, or whatever. Is it handling that as well in this tool? In USQL?
USQL, yes. USQL.
Okay.
I mean, it feels like a thin wrapper around PSQL, but for all databases. So yeah, you can list tables, you can list relations, you can check out schemas, you can you can do whatever you could in PSQL.
But have they done something like, you know what, we will standardize, this is how you list the schema in all the databases? Or you still need to, because I don't think that MySQL have this \d or whatever. It's been ages since I have touched MySQL actually, so I don't exactly recall, but I think it's not like that.
It's, to my knowledge, at least, they have not. They have implemented the protocol, so whenever I just like /dt, I see all the tables in the connected database, which follows the Postgres PSQL syntax.
Okay. That would be sick if they would have done that, or if they would have kept one format and now you are on MySQL. Let's say a Postgres person that is used and now is now forced to go to MySQL, and now you do \dt or \d or whatever, and you have the result that you were expecting from the Postgres command in MySQL.
That would be sick. That'd be nice. I mean, it's also trying to use. I need to test it more with SQLite, and I've never done a lot of MySQL. I have never used MySQL a lot, so I don't know. But yeah, it is. It's not fair to call it a thin wrap-up because it is a larger project, right? But I think that's a good mental model to have, that you have one tool to access all your different databases. I think that's quite nice.
Yeah, especially for people that are jumping around. Speaking of SQLite, this is incredible. This is a piece of software that is amendable, if I can say that. It's kind of very, very impressive what they have done, to be honest. I was playing around the other day with some CSV files and whatnot. This thing is just easy to, I don't know, to eat the data and just let you run the queries that you need. I mean, it's so nice. I'm a little bit impressed with what they have done.
Yeah, it's an amazing tool. What do you use for interacting with the database?
Well, I use the tool itself, so SQLite or PSQL. Yeah, directly. I'm coming from an old .NET background, and back in my days, I was using Microsoft SQL Server actually, and that there was no command line interface at that time, and I, fast forward 10 or 15 years later, at some point I had to replay with Microsoft SQL Server, and they have they have came up a little bit. First of all, you can install Microsoft SQL on Linux and whatnot, and they have this this quote unquote CLI that you can use. I'm saying quote unquote because it's Microsoft. I don't know how they do that to always have. How can I put that without offending too many people? It seems that they have so many difficulties understanding what developers are wanting, or maybe that I'm so off with the enterprise these days, or the business developer. I don't know how to call that. People that are still using Microsoft tooling. Maybe they like that, but maybe they are just not even using it. But I remember it was not as pleasant as SQLite or PSQL, the CLI command. But at least they have done something. But at first there was none, and you needed to go to this management studio. So it was kind of huge. I mean but it was working very, very well. To be honest, Microsoft SQL, to me, I only have good what is the word?
Experiences?
Yeah. Something like that. Good memories. Let's say that.
Okay.
But yeah, for now, it's all on the command line using the built-in tools. But strangely enough, I'm not I'm not that much into databases anymore like I used to do, because I used to be working in financial companies and whatnot. So I was doing a lot of SQL back in my days. A little bit less these days.
Yeah, I mean, if you buy into the Microsoft stack, I'm sure they have a lot of nice tooling, but you also you need to.
So there's a weight that comes with this, and now the versioning and whatnot.
Yeah.
So for me it was Microsoft all the way until like 10 years in my career. At some point, it's strange, very strange. I started with Linux in 1998. I was running Linux full time without that was my OS. I was running Debian. I installed Debian back then. It came with 13 hard disk, the floppy disk back then. Yeah, it was crazy. But suffice to say that it's a different world completely. Microsoft,
Yeah, I mean, it's in Denmark. It's almost only Microsoft. Like, that's the only thing we know for some reason. I think Microsoft saw a country of 5 million people and were like, they need some Microsoft. So all development, at least enterprise level development in Denmark, is Microsoft, and also a lot of the startups that comes is Microsoft, simply for the fact that that's what people have used. But I have never.
That's interesting.
I don't like Microsoft, so I've never really worked with it. It's always been Mac and Linux for the last many years now. So I'm not really familiar with the tooling. But my first job was delivering Microsoft-based products. C# was the language of choice. Microsoft databases.
Yeah. It's a different world completely, to be honest.
But also, for them, that was the only world, right? That was what they, because there was no need to go outside of it when you're in that ecosystem, because it's so huge, and it also seems like it's a very good ecosystem if you accept that is what you do. I mean, if that is what you want to be in, then it should be a really good ecosystem to operate in. That's basically a tool for everything you need, and probably a solved solution, a solved problem.
Until it does not work. But the first 12, 13 years of my career was on Microsoft. And you say Denmark, but it's kind of mostly that, it's either Java or .NET these days. Even these days. No, I'm not talking about the startup. I'm talking about good old normal 9-to-5 jobs.
Yeah,
it's mostly that everywhere. It's probably, but I'm very surprised to hear that even the startups were also adopting .NET. Maybe it's due to like you were saying, everyone was doing that, so maybe that was the pool of talent that they had. So it was potentially very difficult to find any software engineer that wanted to do anything else, maybe Rails or whatever.
Yeah, it definitely does exist, but I mean, I've been a little bit around in different like startup hubs in Berlin. You also see a lot of different stuff where it was. I did not hear or see a lot of startups in Berlin, for example, using C#. There was a lot of PHP, and there was a lot of Rails, and there was also a lot of Go, actually, funnily enough. There's Rails and Node and PHP in the Danish startup scene, but it was just, if you do look at it, there is more, I think more than you expect, but I also don't know what measure I'm using to what I should expect, right? But it is definitely probably leaning towards that, because people used it in the job before they started doing their own startup, right? And then
and the first rules of building any SaaS is use the stack that you're familiar with.
Yeah,
sure. Yeah, speaking of Germany, Yeah, there has to be a lot of Go there because when I look at the stat of this podcast, they are like number 3 or 4. I don't recall exactly in terms of country. So
Yeah.
hello to our friends in Germany.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I mean, when I have done consulting, it's often German companies and companies from the Netherlands. And I feel a little bit from the UK. It's probably here in Europe where you see a lot of concentrations in Go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a great I think Monzo is in the UK, which it's a bank that they have built on top of Go. Everything is Go there.
Yeah.
Very
They
nice.
had a developer, I think, what's his name? Katz, something like that. Kaizen, also it doesn't matter. But it was one of their developers who did a lot of talks on actually how to structure Golang applications. So I used to consume a lot of her videos and content when I started out with Go.
Nice.
But she was working at Monzo as well. So, yeah.
Well, I work with someone. I work briefly at Load and Pack, which are behind K6. I don't know if you know K6, the tool to do load balancing.
No, I don't.
Okay, so there was someone there that left to go to Monzo at some point. So maybe that's the same person. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, to be frank, Monzo seems to be nice.
Yeah.
Speaking of nice tools, so do you have tried anything charm related? I don't know if it's charm or charm bracelet. I don't know what to call them.
No.
I personally use. I don't recall the word. I don't recall the name of the tool, but basically it's a tool that you can point at some code file and it does a screenshot of that thing. That apparently seems to be nice to post on social network and whatnot.
I think I've heard about it.
Before that I was using one called Carbon, carbon.sh or something like that.
Yeah.
But theirs is completely CLI based. So you are on the CLI, you call the tool, which I don't know what it is, but but yeah, it's really nice. I like. I'm not a huge SWE fan myself because those applications tends to not be accessible. So, but when they are doing real CLI tool, they are usually very good, I think.
Yeah. I mainly they did one, actually, it's quite funny if you have followed if you're aware of the drama that happens with open code and how they started out, because what is now Crush used to be open code.
No, I'm not aware. I know that open code was using Charm or something, the Elm based way of building SWE, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So the guy who founded or started what is now Crush was doing it purely in Go. And then the people behind open code now, one of them had worked, I believe, with the guy who started what is now Crush. And then they jumped in and started developing this thing with him. And one of the things that really got them hooked was that they had LSP integration into the coding agent, which
nice.
Yeah, no one was doing it at that time. And now all like Codex and Claude and whatever is doing that as well. So you get more diagnostic information into the agent as well. But he was I think he was one of the first ones to do it. And then I think they got approached by Crush, or no, what is the name of Charm, the company behind it, right?
Yeah.
And they wanted to buy it, and the two guys behind Open Code now they didn't wanna sell, but the guy who started wanted to sell, so that created the split. So now Open Code is a separate thing where they're developing that under, I believe it's called Anomaly. The company that Dex is a part of.
Okay, but it's still called Open Code.
Yeah, it's still called Open Code.
Okay, yeah. I was wondering why, because I remember I tried Open Code at some point and I I found two entities that seems very different.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. That was where the big drama came from, because
That is interesting.
I don't know if it was Dax himself or the company he is a part owner of that bought the domain name OpenCode or owned the naming or something.
Okay.
Which they applied to the repository that is now what is turned into Crush. And they didn't change the name. So there was a... because, SEO and distribution, whatever. So there was a long battle to figure out, to change the name and everything. So they did change the name, but it seems like you can still land on Crush if you're looking for open code.
Right.
Yeah. But that's a... Yeah.
Yeah, that is... Do you use OpenCode, actually?
Yeah, I used it for like a couple of weeks. And then I used Crush. And I just tried them out, but I mainly try to stay on the ones provided from OpenAI and Anthropic, simply because they seem to be more efficient with the tokens.
Yeah. Yeah, and am I wrong in saying I have seen something that Anthropic did or prevented from their usage that might be affecting open code? I don't really know exactly, but
yeah. So, but it's also it's like it depends on how you look at the problem, because what OpenCode had done was they had reverse engineered how to get the access token that you get once when you authenticate through Cloud Code. So they have reverse engineered that process so you can use your subscription plan through OpenCode at Anthropic. And then they killed that.
Yeah.
And it created a huge uproar in the space, or probably only on Twitter, right? It created a big uproar. And then they circled back, and OpenAI was quick to say like, hey, we want to work with OpenCode, so you can use our plans through OpenCode. And then, of course, Anthropic, they circled back and was like, okay, now you can use it as well. But it was more like this was never actually allowed, but they didn't enforce it until I think like months after OpenCode started doing it. I think I really like Crush. I think Crush is a nice interface. Also, the fact that it's built with Go makes it something I'm really familiar with. OpenCode is jumped over to some part of it is written in SIG, and then some of it is done in TypeScript as well. I'm probably not too deep enough into the stack choices, but they did the split away from Go and over to more web-based stack, and then the core engine, I believe, is written in SIG. So it is completely different projects now.
Yeah.
But again, they kind of do the same thing, LSP integration, nice economics around planning mode and writing code mode and all of those things.
Nice.
And then, of course, you can integrate with whatever model you want to use. Whereas with the quote-unquote official ones from Anthropic and OpenAI are just their models, right?
Yeah.
So it's nice, but I was running out of tokens so fast with OpenCode that I was like, no, I'm going to go back. I kind of have this idea that I don't want to have the big plans, because I don't want to sit 8 hours a day only being like
totally. So wait. So you have the small plan, like the $20 Anthropic?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have $20, the $20 plan on Anthropic and OpenAI, and that is just enough. Not always enough, but so it's really funny, because if you see people when they start to accept that AI in coding is a thing, I think they go through the same processes of like, this is insane, and then okay, we need to reevaluate our workflows a little bit, and then I think they end up at a middle point, because I saw 37 Signals, DSH, and those guys, they have released a doc of their approach to agentic coding, which was following a lot of what I also have experienced, but also what I've seen other people experience. Like, use it without guardrails, let it run, and then adjust. Yeah. Because there's also people saying like, I sit and accept everything, and to me that doesn't make sense, because then I would rather write it myself. I don't see what's the point. It's saying yes, no, right?
What can go wrong?
Yeah, use Git and version it. But I try now to be more of because it has seen more code than I will see in my entire life. So bouncing ideas of it just to see it from a different angle, I think that's very good. And doing boring tasks like, hey, take this file and migrate it into this, or grab this code from this repository and apply it to the same style that I have in my repository, something like that. I think that's where it's very good at, and that's also what I think you should do. So I am still the person in charge of the architecture and what's happening. And sometimes if I do complicated stuff, it ends up with, I'm like looking at this, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, this is not what we should be doing, right?
Yeah.
So that's, I think the small plans is good to force yourself into a middle point. So you're still writing code, you're still
reviewing a lot of what is getting output. Because let's face it, and I've been using, I would say, I don't know what to call myself anymore, but yeah, I think I can say that I have played with Claude enough.
Yeah,
and sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not good, but it all boils down to what are you asking, or how are you presenting what it needs to do. I tend to write a lot of PRDs myself these days now when I have something in my mind. And you know what? That is very interesting. I used it this weekend in a way that I haven't used that so far. So in the hope of trying to find more adoption for my open source project, I said, can you review what I've done in my marketing website for my open source project?
Yeah.
And I gave a lot of context. Ideally, I tried that and blah, blah, blah. People were not really they were having difficulties getting on board and whatnot. Can you try to pinpoint? And I want honest review here. And it was a long prompt, but wow, no emotion from that thing. I was roasted. It was, quote unquote brutal, but in a sense good.
Yeah.
And things like, what, you are saying that it's supposed to be easy, and now you're on your getting started page, and now you need to crack up Docker and install X and Y and do X. This is not easy. I was, what, this is true. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. So that's a tool. Speaking of tool that we are using, that's a tool that I find myself using a little bit more these days for exactly what you said. Tasks that I know I would not want to do because it's just not worth it. I'm not letting it write any Go code yet, though.
No.
Go for me is I don't know. I don't really like what it outputs at the moment for me. But yeah, again, for when I need to do any kind of front end development, any kind of React application, or any kind of front end that I still need to do these days, I don't want to write that anymore. I have been there, I've done that.
Yeah,
it's good. I don't need to learn anything in that space. I don't like that anymore to do that, especially as a blind person. First of all, second of all, well, I have done too much of front end work in my life. I'm all good, but I still need to review what it's doing.
Yeah, but also I think it depends on like what is your goal and how do you treat these because it is just a tool, and if it is to write code faster, I think then you have to accept that it's gonna be it's gonna be slop. Like I don't see a way to use these tools to write code a lot faster and not accept a certain degree of it being bad code. And some people are fine with it, and I think probably you're fine with that if you are not gotten a call late at night with things being broken.
Yeah.
So that's also, I think everyone is trying to fumble around, trying to figure out how to use these kind of tools. And you also saw that Microsoft has appointed a new role to be AI overseer, or whatever they called it, to be like a quality in charge person, so that their AI adventures don't break everything. So yeah, I maybe some people, they just would rather have the text interface, but if you spend all your time prompting it, I still think you can write good software if you look at it. But then I think the argument of it being faster goes completely out the window. Then no, that I don't believe you sitting and writing English to it and looking at what it outputs. That cannot be that much faster than writing yourself. So then it's just a question of how do you like to work, and if that makes you create more work than you would if you had to write everything yourself, fine. But I think we are starting to see more and more people realizing that just because I can generate images with LLM does not make me an artist, right? There's still something like emotion and taste and things that go into this process of building things that you still need. So I'm going off on a tangent here about using AI, but I think it's a good tool if you just start to use it as a tool instead of this thing that can just one shot
totally
everything, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And also, I mean, using the plan mode, I do that a lot. I cannot see myself letting one prompt having enough value for me to be written. It does not have enough context, it seems, or I don't know. It's it's not a very good experience for me at the moment.
No,
it's not 50-50, but let's say it's 35-65 in favor of 65 being most often than not it will write code that I'm not very proud to have in my project for Go. I'm talking about Go here, right?
Yeah, but
because
also
the TypeScript is strangely enough, I believe that this thing is writing as much good TypeScript as I would, because I don't want to write TypeScript, if that makes sense. So I look at the code that it writes and I say, well, you know what? It's I don't know, and this seems good, but when I look at other at more backend code, I'm like, maybe not.
Yeah. But that's also like I tend to use it a lot for. So I have a lot of models in my code bases, right? Where this is like you write some SQL, you generate it with SQL-C, and then you write a wrapper around it. Yep. If that is just a pure wrapper, create, find, whatever, the models does that very well in Go. But then I also had, again, going back to the infrastructure thing I'm building, where you need to select how you want to deploy, and from what provider you wanted to deploy, and you have to select if you have like something connected of like an, I don't know, S3 bucket, R2 bucket, whatever it might be. And that code, it just completely, I don't know what it did, right? But it was not anything I would like to maintain. So there's these things where like, hey, I need to pull out these things from the database, and I need to show these things, and we need to be able to create these things. That is stuff it has seen so many examples of, where it's like, I might as well have it do that, and then just almost just blindly trust that it will do it. Of course, look it over, but again, let it just run until it's done, and then see, okay, does this look correct? It does. And then all the more heavy stuff, then you do that yourself. And then I would argue you have saved time, because before I would have to write all the boilerplate myself and then solve the problem. But if I try to make it do all the boilerplate so I can solve the problem, then there's definitely a gain in efficiency. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, exactly. You like you said, it's a tool. It's a tool. We need to learn how to use it properly, and also there's a little bit of preference. Myself, I just like to write Go. I don't, even if it's going to write it faster than me, I don't care. I want to do it. So that's also another. I don't want to give that away, because that to me brings me, this is what I like to do, and I'm doing this because I like it. So I don't want to just, there was this Simpsons episode at some point where Homer is working at home. He's just replying yes all the time. I mean, it's we cannot become that.
No,
this is not what it is to be a software engineer, and even like you were saying, I mean, we are still in control of architecture and infrastructure and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, exactly. We still need to keep some kind of control here and there for sure, because I mean, it's crazy otherwise.
Yeah, it's also it's funny, like you mentioned Simpsons. It's so easy to build the Homer car with these tools,
Yeah.
The one where he just builds everything,
Nice.
So that's also when, like, especially if you look at the CEO from Y Combinator, where he's like, I am averaging 10,000 lines of code a day. And everyone that has worked in software, they're like, dude, that is not like, you're talking too much to Elon Musk if you think that's a valid metric on how to see if your project and like you're productive or not. So also these tools being so new, and many people probably only really discovered how good they are back in November, December of last year, it's probably easy to fall into this. I think this line of looking like, okay, now we can just produce everything, but like that has been true forever. Like we can.
Oh yeah.
So just because I can code this, I did not write Dropbox or Netflix, right? I have been coding like, okay, they are probably a little bit before I started coding, right? But there's been product coming up that I could have coded, but I didn't. So a new tool does not change the fact that I could have done it faster. Maybe again, it's a big maybe. Yeah. So
yeah, totally.
Yeah. I think it's just because it's everywhere, and you can like bombarded with it every day. That software is dead, and now we just need to write English. And I'm like, I don't know, I don't know if that's true yet. Let's see some actual products being built using this, you know, and we actually have. And that product was one example of where the guy just used AI, and then he ended up leaking. Was it millions of women's driver's license to the internet? I don't know if you heard that story where there was like a site where you could rate guys you have been on a date with.
Oh yeah, I think I heard that. Yeah, okay. Yeah. It was built with AI.
Yeah, he used AI, and he just because you had to verify, right? And so it was like, hey, give me your driver's license, and the people just uploaded their driver's license. It was the classic one where they just did like a public S3 bucket, or maybe it was not public, but it was not secure because he just had an LLM do this. And maybe at one point they get good enough that they have they can course direct infer this, right? But if you take a small, like what is it, 1,000 paper cuts, you have to know all these things to do it.
Yeah, I think that is why they say that, you know, senior developers, people that have been out there and knows these things, when we are prompting or when we are asking that in a plan mode or whatever, we will say those things. We will say, you know, ensure that the blog that you are going to upload will be secure and blah, 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 you know?
Yeah.
Or at least we should know that, and we should say that. So
yeah.
So let's jump into the you know, one last thing. So, you know, we all agree that Go is excellent at building tools or CLI and whatnot. So is there any tool that you would like to have yourself that you haven't built yet, and you would like to have that? And I will start, because that I'm trying to build this email client of mine, the CLI email client. So I'm talking about the TUI. I'm talking about, imagine a tool that I can write, I don't know, like mail or whatever, and that would list the last 15 mail in my inbox, and I can send email, I can read email, but it's always returning to my command line prompt. So it's a CLI. It's not an app that I would stay in, and the UI is extremely text based to the death. Like it's just like it could be using the tab writer of Go, for example, just to split things and have kind of a table layout, and that would be it. So that is something that I have in the back of my head since a long time. I started an open source project way back, and now that I'm starting to discover what Claude could do, because I don't want to write that. I don't want to write it, but I want to have it. So that might be something that I could see myself using Claude at some point to write for me. And yeah,
nice. Yeah, that would be nice. I think having something to work nice that works really well with emails locally is always a little bit like I'm using something called MailPit right now, but of course that's a running application. You need to access through the browser, and that could also be nice, right? Yeah.
So is this application, it's capable of connecting to IMAP, for example? So it's getting the email via IMAP, and you are sending email via SMTP?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure about the IMAP, but it's sending to SMTP.
Okay, so you're able to read your email. It's more friendly than, let's say, the Gmail email console, for example.
Yeah, you just get like but it's also more fully fledged. It's a web app where you get inbox kind of thing, and you see the email, and it does some scoring, which can also be nice at times, but also just having it in the inbox in your terminal coming out would probably also be very.
Oh yeah. For me, it's terminal all the way. So because just searching, it's way faster for me at least.
Yeah. Cool. I think one tool I would like to do would be something around video and transcriptions to make that workflow easier. So I do stream a little bit on Twitch, and the process of taking that stream, generating transcripts, making them work in a modern environment where you have all the spoken words pop up with different colors and words, that would probably be very nice.
Because you are posting that to YouTube? Is that the reason?
Yeah. So post it to YouTube or post it to TikTok and try and drive a little bit of people to the stream. And actually, there is another gopher. He goes on the Dreams of Code. I don't know if you've seen his channel or anything, but he does a lot of Go as well. And I think he actually built it with Rust. So he's done a product that I'm forgetting the name of right now, where it does some auto coding for you, so you get all of the silence out, and then it generates the transcripts, and gives that to you. That is one I've been thinking of building. Another one I played with was to go like full AI and build something that I could just have my mic ready to speak to do the prompts, just and then auto transcribe it and then chuck it into whatever coding agents. I know there's a guy who does analytics for podcasts. He's called Podscan.
Okay.
Arvid Carl. I think that's how he does everything. Like he just talks to the microphone, and then he dictates, have it transcribed, and then chuck it into to one of his agents, and then it does all the work. I think, but that's probably more like a combination with generating the transcript. It could be fun to see how that would work. Yeah,
sure. Yeah, I guess with the Whisper model, the open source.
Yeah. Something like in the Whisper space.
Nice, cool.
Yeah.
All right, Morten. So I think that's the episode.
Yeah.
Cool.
Nice.
So let's talk next week.
Let's talk next week, man.
All right, bye.
Bye bye.